We're looking at the fundamentals of Civic Type R tuning this week. We're taking things back to basics. For those of you that have subscribed already, welcome back to another video. For anybody else who's joining us for the first time today, this will give you a little taste of things to expect here at Dream Automotive. We're currently working on the 2023 FL5 Civic Type R model, which is currently out on a development plan, dotting around to different manufacturers, helping develop products and ultimately letting us bring them to market. Today, we are joined with the 2018 FK8 Civic Type R that's just been in with us for some routine servicing. The car has had valve clearances, oil change, and just some of the basic routine maintenance that you'll be doing to your Civic on a yearly basis. The car has also had a couple of little extra upgrades fitted to it whilst it was with us this week, being the PowerFlex engine mount insert, Dream throttle body hose as they're prone to splitting over time, and also topped off with an Acuity shift boot ring and Dream weighted gear knob. The FK8 we have here in the workshop, albeit it looks pretty standard from the outside, is packing a lot more under the bonnet. Previously been to us for a few power upgrades, so we fitted a PRL package which comprised of a PRL sports cap, a PRL front pipe, a PRL intercooler, intake and the turbo pipe. That was then finished off with a Honda tuning on our dyno from Remain at Racecal, and we produced a healthy 393 horsepower and 385 pound-foot of torque, which leads me nicely onto the car that's just over my shoulder, the FK2 Civic Type R, where it all started for us back in 2015. Let's go and have a look. As mentioned at the start of the video, we're going to be taking things back to basics this week. We're looking at improving the breathing of the K20C1 engine found in the FK2 and later the FK8 and FL5 Civics. Although we're doing basics, it doesn't have to be boring. We've got a carbon fibre Venturi intake and a titanium tipped milltek exhaust to get fitted. So I'll get the car loaded up onto the ramp now, we'll have a good look around the car and its current condition, and then have a look at the parts that we're going to be fitting today. So with the Civic about to get loaded onto the ramp, we can have a quick look around to see the current state of tune and what modifications have been carried out to the Civic already. So on a quick initial look around the engine bay, I can see that we've got a InGen intake with the open cone filter. We've got a AirTech front mount intercooler along with the big boost pipe kits. Now the AirTech is going to be one of the two-step cores, so straight down the back in front of the condenser and then stepping out towards the front of the car. We've also got a decat downpipe. You may have guessed from the cold start just a minute ago that the car was quite noisy already. It's also paired with a straight through centre, otherwise known as a B pipe. So a few basic modifications all brought together quite nicely, but today we're going to be looking to improve upon that using the Venturi, which has got a lovely cold air intake through the top of the scuttle, and the full milltek exhaust being a larger bore throughout the whole system, so aiding the air in and out of the engine as efficiently as possible. So now we're familiar with the car and how it currently sits, we'll get it stripped down now. I'll start off with getting the engine out of the way and then move along to the turbo tube, as on the area down the side here where we have the wiring go around the shrouding, we need to remove it from the shrouding and put a new sleeve over the top where it passes underneath the new Venturi. So now that we've got the old intake out of the car, let's have a look at what we're going to be replacing it with today. So we'll start off with the Venturi turbo tube. This is the tube that we're going to be using today. And there's a slight revision of this tube coming out. From the testing that we've done on the FL5 Civic, we noticed that increasing diameter through the middle section here, we were able to gain a little bit more power and torque throughout the majority of the rev range. That pipe is then retrofittable to the FK2 and FK8 models. So for the moment, we're still supplying the old intake pipe, but going forward, there will be an upgrade available for FK2 and FK8 owners. So moving over to the intake now. So the kit itself comes with a genuine Honda scuttle panel trim, and this has been laser cut so that you can see we're going to have space for the cold air intake to be fitted up on the scuttle panel. From there, I think this feels like the scuttle scoop itself. Yeah, so that there is going to sit and protrude just through in front of the wipers there. It looks really cool when you're looking through the windscreen and you see that just poking out the top of the scuttle. Shows that we've got a decent intake on the car. Moving over, this should be the pod in here. Now the FK2 kit is designed around the iconic Venturi Air Pod design, as opposed to the FK8 and the later FL5, which has got more of the traditional airbox style. So this is an inverted filter, and again, these work really, really well. In initial testing, when we were first developing this along with Venturi, we were seeing gains of around 20 horsepower across the entire rev range. So one of the best performing intakes you could buy for your FK2. And then finally, we should have the linking pipe between the pod and the turbo tube that we just unpacked earlier. They're complete with the MAF boss. So I'll start getting that built up and fitted to the car. Intake side of things is now complete, so we've got the full Venturi installed in the FK2. So we've got the V2 intake system along with the turbo tube. Now we've made way for this by removing an open cone filter, which effectively would have been sucking air from, well, wherever it could find it. But today we've now installed the Venturi, which has the top duct, which means we can swamp this intake with as much cold air that we can throw at it. So it means that we're going to be putting less stress on the turbo, less stress on the engine, therefore everything's going to be working that little bit more efficiently and ultimately making power just a little bit more comfortably. I'm going to get the car up into the air now so we can start looking at the exhaust system, and we'll get the old exhaust removed from the car to make way for the new milltek. So I've just finished up on the work on the FK2 this week, fitted the Venturi and the milltek exhaust, and then it's finished off on the dyno with Remain from Racecal. After a few revisions and backs and forwards with data logs, we settled on a power figure of 397 horsepower and just crept the torque into the 400s at 403 pound-foot of torque. The car clearly hasn't gained massive amounts of power from where it is previously, but what it has done is released some of the restrictions that were on the engine and now able to produce that power at a lesser boost and less strain on the engine. You may have noticed, like the FK8 that we looked at earlier, this FK2 is also leaving with a couple of little extras too. We've got some Climair Wind Deflectors, and we've also fitted a set of black front and rear badges. Thank you for watching, and hope you've enjoyed today's video. All that's left to do now is hand the car back to the customer and get his feedback on how the car is now performing. Moving into 2024, we're going to be taking some of the cars out onto the track and really using some of these modifications that we've been applying to the vehicles already. So if you haven't already, think about hitting the subscribe button, give the video a like, and please leave us a comment below.